What's going on, everyone? Kelly Cavallero here, one half of 7 Hour Media, and welcome to the Monday edition of the Honky Tonk Highway, episode 83. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend, got out and about, got to do some things, enjoyed whatever weather you're getting in your part of the world. It was kind of nice here, nice and sunny, maybe a little breezy, but overall good. Hope everyone is ready for a great show today. The topic is a little interesting, so we'll get to that in a minute. But guys, don't forget, if you haven't yet, head over, like, subscribe, follow Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That way you don't ever miss out on anything we're going to be doing, posting, and stuff like that. Also, I'm getting ready to post the schedule for this week. It's going to be a little bit different with some stuff running. The one guarantee is Wednesday, I will not have a show. I'll be broadcasting over on Streamline. We'll be doing the schedule reveal. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. CET. So no Honky Tonk Highway on Wednesday, but head over to Streamline and get ready for that schedule. Also, every Tuesday, I have the Honky Tonk Highway on the LDR, Line Dancer Radio, 2 to 4 UK time. That's 9 to 11 here in the States. So please join me tomorrow morning for a great radio show. Also, if you don't have time to watch the shows, download it as a podcast, guys. You can easily get this as a podcast on both Spotify and iTunes, where you can listen from anywhere. So, today's show. This one, I'm going to warn you now, is going to be a little controversy. And I'm looking forward to it because I, being a broadcast guy and a streamer, want to know. So, topic of today's show, money versus views. Why do you stream? For all you guys out there who stream, hopefully I get some great questions, great people involved here that do stream. I want to know, why are you streaming? I understand with this whole pandemic and everything we had with COVID, that events got canceled. We went all into hibernation. Only way to get in touch with everybody was to start going live on different avenues, Facebook, YouTube, that we had out there. But my question is now, as we see a couple different things pop up, ELD, everything line dance. I know Jesse's working with one that she's been posting, the guy named Craig, Live Love Line Dance or something like that. I know that's posted a couple times. And going to different avenues where it's away from Facebook and YouTube. The question is why? The question is, why are you streaming? Are you streaming? Are you putting your class out there to get more people interested in line dancing? Or are you putting out there for a way to people to pay you and make money? So that's the question today. Hopefully I got some people out there in the chat that want to get involved that do stream and stream across different platforms. I know I did some research of the cost of different things like Zoom. A lot of people use Zoom for their private classes. That's fine. It's more of a one-on-one, and it's a way for you not to get blocked musically, because it's more of like a FaceTime call, a Skype call, or stuff like that. But if you want to go over 40 minutes, you have to you have to pay, and that costs per month. You have to pay in order to have something that goes for an hour. Jim just says, I have a show on MySpace with JP as a guest, very low attendance, but a good time. Biggie with the MySpace jokes. But that's the other thing. Like ELD has where you have to pay depending on how many hours you want to broadcast a month. But the question is, guys, why? And I'm hoping some people. Let me put this up here. Matt just commented. Matt Thompson said, let me bring this down and get this smaller. As it's stuck. Put that back up now that I got the sizing. Maybe. There we go. Matt says, I don't charge when I go live on YouTube. It's for my regular dancers just to keep them dancing. Exactly. And that's what a lot. Jamie says she pays annually for Zoom. Totally understandable. A lot of people went to the Zoom avenue for not to get the music blocked. But Jamie, that means you're putting up your own money, and are you charging? Because I know a lot of people don't charge, a lot of people charge. It's about a half and half. I know a lot of people who do it both ways. So, but the big one is, and I'm going to ask this, guys: how many of you who broadcast and do your classes, how many of you pay for a broadcasting license? That's the big question. I know Matt says he doesn't charge, and a lot of people do it. YouTube has their licensing, so YouTube won't bust you. They might put ads up. They might mute some songs in some countries. I know I broadcasted from the Florida Line Dance Classic this past weekend. No Jamie just says, I don't put this up there real quick. No charging for my classes, but I'm helping keep a studio open and using my Zoom room, and people pay. Okay, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. So I didn't get none of my songs, to my knowledge, on our YouTube videos this past weekend. Got blocked from YouTube from the competition and from the show. They're both still up there. Granted, I do have a monetized YouTube channel. So Facebook has the ability to run ads on my YouTube channel, and they usually don't block anything here in the States. There's a couple countries that randomly will block stuff, but 3 or 4 years ago, we switched from doing our events to Facebook, from Facebook to YouTube due to that fact. Facebook was taking it down and blocking a lot more. YouTube does not, so we went to YouTube, plain and simple. But the question I have, guys, and this is for the people who use like ELD and stuff like that, do you have your own broadcasting license? And I'm not talking about a music license to make sure you can play the music in your location, because that's not the same thing. But do you have a broadcasting license? I know Jesse, and this is nothing. Wasn't a private conversation. This was public over Facebook, so I'm not saying anything that wasn't, everybody couldn't go out and read. But Jesse talked about the event, the website she's helping out with, and she said that every instructor who has an account would have to turn around and have their own license for their venue. And I'm like, that's not how that works. The venue license is only for the people in the venue. So it doesn't really help you for broadcasting. The minute you put it on the internet, that's a totally different license. I know Pamela just tagged Brett Beresic, and I know Britt sent me a nice long message, guys, yesterday on my post. So if you want to go read it, her opinion, she wasn't able to join today. She was heading to do stuff for their kids, so I know she'll be watching later. Megan just put up there, and hello, Miss Barcelia. Hope your day in Cali's going well. I talked about streaming with my students. They wanted the occasional session together, but they requested tutorial/walkthrough videos from me separately. So I just send them privately and use the occasional Zoom to meet up with them all. But I don't currently go over 40 minutes. Makes sense. That totally makes sense. That totally works as well. But the big thing is, and this is people, why are you streaming, guys? Do you want the views? Do you make it public for everyone can see and we can expose line dance to the world? Or are you trying to find ways to make money? Because the question is, as events happen more, are you still going to continue to do stuff digitally or virtually? Are you still going to do it? And that's the big question. So you're investing all this money, like Jamie pays for Zoom. Jamie's invested her own money to find a way to do it. She invested her own money for Zoom. She took it upon herself, and that's what she does. But all you people like Zoom, it's $15 a month for the pro plan. That's still $15 a month you're paying out of your own pocket. ELD is depending on how many hours you want to broadcast. The lowest one on there is 10 hours. You get 10 hours, which is about 2.5 hours a week, for 15 pounds. So it comes out to about $20 US a month. So Cat Painter says, I have taught a few free lessons online. People have do many classes and choices out there. I have got complaints about how stressful it is from students, so I send walkthroughs to students who want them. Yeah, there is a lot of options. There is a lot of options hourly, every hour, every day. Definitely tons and tons of stuff. out there for people to get the exposure. I know a lot of people have said they had a little bit more difficulty voting for their Crystal Boot Awards because they got exposed to more people this year than they normally would. So there's that. And that's another question. What do they mean by stressful? Is it because of the amount, or because you're not there in person and you can't see them? Because I know that was another reason why a lot of people went to Zoom. A lot of people went to Zoom because they wanted to be able to be seen while dancing, and it wasn't just the instructor on screen. I know, and people complain when it's free. Holy smoke. Yeah, exactly. I love that, Jamie. It does. People complain all the time. Jonathan Sack, I think it depends on the country you're in. Licensing and broadcasting are definitely not a go-to priority over here, unlike the states where they're hot on it. Correct, John. I will agree with you on that, but you still have to have them. Every website has to have a license if you're going to play music. It's just like Line Dance Radio. Line Dance Radio is an online radio station. They have to have a license to broadcast music on air, and they're based in the UK. It's no different. It's no different on that aspect one bit. So if a radio station has to have it, they're definitely going to make you have to have it in videos. Megan says, I want to stay fresh. FLDC was a perfect example of use it or lose it. I struggle to remember dances that I taught several times last year. I want to keep dancing, and I want anyone who wants to continue to dance to be able to. But with everyone streaming, there are so many options. I tend to redirect dances to other people weekly lessons. Makes sense. There are a lot of dances offered per week, and even per day on that one. But I totally get depends on the country, John. Totally get that. But I know there still has to be something, because if not, more people would be doing it. More people would go away. And that's, I think, the big thing. More people would go away from Facebook and YouTube and the free options that they tend to get blocked a little bit more if it was a viable option for it not to be so much cost effective. And that's my curiosity, because from a guy who does it streaming, yeah, could I put it on my own website? Do I have that ability? Absolutely. Do I have the ability to put a bunch of videos on 7arrowmedia.com? Sure. But for the amount of money it would cost me, it's not cost efficient. Right now, I looked at YouTube today. We had about 2,000 views on one video, I think it is, and 12 or 1,400 views on the other video from this past weekend. If I charged $1 a person, if that was separate people, say that was 2,000 people that went on, that's $2,000. That's not enough to cover one of the 3 licensing that you need to have music on your own website, to be able to broadcast out there. Like, if you notice, when I do the show, I don't put music up here that is licensed. The one time I did it, we got blocked. And that part of the music, when me and Daniel did the video, it was muted. That's why when we did the choreography challenges, they listened to the music in the headphones. I let everybody know what the song was. We didn't play it. The reason being, because we would get kicked off. Facebook would have stopped us. Now, could I just broadcasted that show on YouTube that day? Absolutely. Would half the people go over and watch it? No, because it's proven they don't. It's proven that when it goes to another avenue, you get way less people. That's why we broadcasted on Facebook for so long. We wanted the views. We wanted to be able to reach as many people as humanly possible, and that's what was the importance, is to reach people. We had videos right before Facebook started hounding down at Detroit, and I know Fred was with me that weekend, and we looked at the camera at one point, and at one point there was close to 3,000 people watching live. 3,000 people watching live. When we woke up the next morning, there was 260,000 plus views on that live stream. Unheard of for something that quick for line dancing. overnight. And that was through Facebook. People can share it. It can go through it can go through their news feeds. It can reach so many more people. Now, we could have turned around and we now put events on YouTube. We don't reach a tenth of that. Why? Because people don't go to YouTube. People rather go to Facebook. And it's the same thing. If we want the views. What's going on, Britt? Britt has joined us. I know you put a nice long post on your feelings on this topic yesterday, Britt, because I know you weren't supposed to be on air. Megan says the music licensing is probably the most challenging part. People want the quick and easy option that they are familiar with. Zoom was challenging enough of a switch for most of my students. Agreed. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen firsthand, Zoom doesn't have the best audio quality unless you're able to plug in systems, a sound system. So I do know that. But yeah, people don't go to the other option. So my question is, why are people going to all these different avenues to make a couple bucks here and there? Betty, actually they do. Betty just said, as far as I know, Facebook doesn't have an agreement with the music industry to pay royalties. YouTube does. Facebook actually does. And because I've contacted people on this. I've talked to a bunch of different copyright attorneys about getting licensing for broadcasting. The problem is Facebook doesn't care. Mark Zuckerberg and all them, they plain out say it. It's their website. They can post what they want. If they want to block you, they're going to block you. The problem is, and this is the thing and this is why they started hounding down a lot more recently, is you have these big companies like ESPN and all these news channels and all these radio labels that are paying Facebook millions of dollars a year to broadcast stuff on Facebook. And then they're letting all these people go live for free. They're letting DJs go live for free. They're letting concerts go live for free. And all these radio labels said, well, we want our money back. Why do we need to pay you millions of dollars if you're going to allow Mr. Joe Smith over there to do a live DJ set and not pay a dime and put up his PayPal information and his Venmo information and get paid? And that was and that was a big thing. But yeah, unfortunately, this is just like YouTube. And you're always going to see differences between Facebook and YouTube because they don't like each other. They hate each other. Instagram and Facebook will be a lot alike because they're owned by the same company. YouTube is the different one. So they're always going to try to one-up each other, and they'll never get on the same page because they're not going to, because they're competitors. That's why you'll see YouTube links sometimes be harder to see, because once you post a link from YouTube, the algorithm notices it's a YouTube link and it goes further down on the chainmail. That's why a video naturally posted to Facebook does better, because it's naturally on Facebook. But they don't care. They own the website, and we get it for free. Facebook is a free service that we're using. So Matt Thompson just says, I feel, let me put this up. Let me get over here. I feel there are too many lessons that people are charging for and too many new dances. I feel the instructor should be doing reviews of older, easier dances to get the dance community to grow. Matt, we've been saying that for months. If you go back, we've done a couple shows on the amount of dances being written today. Yeah, there's a lot. So that's one that's been talked about a couple times already. So that's definitely a thing. There have been a lot of new dances out recently. Probably because we did just have a live event too. So I know there were some new releases there. So, but yeah, unfortunately, Facebook and YouTube are going to do what they want. That's plain and simple. They own that. We don't pay a subscription. I think it would be a little bit different if we paid, say, $9.99 a month to use Facebook, and then I think it'd be different. Like with YouTube, rules change compared to how many people follow you and stuff like that. The minute you get more and more and more, and I've been asked this thing, why does this person get away with not having their music blocked? I go, they have 2.7 million subscribers. Of course they're not going to block that. YouTube is getting money off of 2.7 million people. They're making money off ads. They're making money off revenue. That's why you see ads ran on YouTube. And that's a definite. That's a definite. The more viewers you have on subscribers you have on YouTube, the more you're going to be able to get away with. And that's just how it is. That's why you see some of these businesses, these pages on Facebook, the companies pay. They're paid promotion. You can pay for ads. You can pay for all sorts of stuff on Facebook. The stuff that you paid for gets seen by more people. Of course it's going to get seen by more people because you're paying for that. And that's what Facebook's going to put that priority over everything else because you just paid the money. So, but my question is and this is why I titled this, if you're getting it for free, absolutely free, like YouTube is free, Facebook is free, why are we going to a paid program, guys? Why are we segregating and going to a paid subscription, especially if you're putting people at risk? That's my big thing. Because if you're putting people at risk by telling them, "Oh no, you don't have license." And I'll go to your comment in a minute, Jonathan, before I don't lose track. Pamela just says, have you talked with Rob Fowler about this? I've heard him say his reason is making money. Absolutely. That's why he did V10. That's why he did V1 through 10. It's private. You pay him, you get in. He wants to make money. He's making money of a living. And Jonathan Sack, and this is the funny, guys, and I'll tell the story behind this. He just asked me if I got enough followers to get to the YouTube cafe in Soho yet. So randomly, a couple years when me and Kelly were in England, we were going to on our anniversary before heading to World Dance Masters. I was taking her to see Wicked in London, and we were killing time before the play, and we're looking for a couple things to do. We're walking around. We had been down all day, and I turn around and on my map, I had a huge YouTube logo pop up, and I'm like, "What is this?" So I turn around and I randomly stumbled on a YouTube cafe in downtown London, and the only requirement is you can go in, but you have to have a YouTube channel that has 10,000 subscribers. So I turned to Kelly and I told this to Jonathan that night when we got back to his place, and I go, my goal is to have 10,000 subscribers before I can get in and check out the YouTube cafe and what it does. Granted, my goal is to have millions of YouTube subscribers because I would like to share what we do with the world. And guys, if you think anybody's getting rich over, like, there are some out there that has sponsorships, but you make tenths of pennies on views. Like, I think we made $40 or $50 over 2 years with views on YouTube over ads played on ours, and YouTube has it in an account and we haven't touched it. But it's taken me getting millions of views across hundreds of videos to amount in $40. So if you think people are making billions on YouTube, you're right, they are, because they're getting sponsorships. And that's how they're making a lot of their money on YouTube, the sponsorship money. People are sponsoring their videos. So they're getting paid a buku amount of money to talk about a product or a site or something like that. Megan says, I use Zoom only because my students want to feel like they're dancing with everyone. Right, and Zoom does do that on the Zoom meetings, because that way you kind of have everyone on screen. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And that's what Zoom was kind of meant for. Zoom was a conferencing. That's why everyone at the beginning, when Zoom had their issues, Zoom wasn't prepared for a pandemic. Zoom wasn't prepared for half of the world to turn around and download their product and use it. It's not what it was made for. That Zoom was made for video conferencing for businesses and for people working remotely, not for people teaching dance classes. That's straight up how it is. And that's why people are like, I can't believe I spent all this money on a webcam and my webcam is losing focus. Well, a webcam is designed to sit on top of a computer and see someone sitting still, maybe a random movement. Webcams are not designed for people to get up behind you and dance 15, 20 feet away from the camera. That's not what they are. That's not what they're designed for. They're designed to get a face and a body in front of a camera. That's why I tell everybody who contacts me, use an external camera. Use a GoPro. Use a DSLR. Use something that's going to have autofocus and have the ability. Webcams and your camera, no, they're not going to be able to keep up. That's not what they're made for. It's not what it was designed for. Yes, they're great cameras. They're great at if you're not moving, but that's not what they were designed for. So Jackie Talley just says, I pay the monthly fee for Zoom. A lot of people do. A lot of people are on that train, and that's what it comes to. But back to, I know Pamela said, have you talked to Rob Fowler about this? And I know exactly that's what it was, his goal of this. It's the same goal with everybody who's did a paid event. That was what Digital Dance Weekends were for. Okay, the goal was to make money and make money for the instructors. The goal for Rob was to have a way to make money. Of course that was. That's exactly what it was. He doesn't, but what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, you got to have those people in there. You got to have the people willing to pay for it. And that's exactly what it is. You have to be able to get the people to pay. And the problem right now is people are having to choose, why am I going to pay when I can get all of this for free? And no offense, I 100% agree with them. If you can get certain instructors paying for free, why are you going to go? And I guess the reason is, okay, I'll use a couple examples here. Rob Fowler uses Facebook. Rachel McEnany for Digital Dance Weekend. Probably the best example of a digital dance weekend, a digital event, use Facebook. Okay, Gary O'Reilly uses Facebook for his classes. He uses them for his weekend. My question is, why are we so worried and so gung-ho about building these other sites about taking it away from the free stuff when Facebook does have the licensing? They're still going to block you, yes, but the Facebook, you're covered. You might get muted, you might get taken down. So what? YouTube's a great example. YouTube will put an ad up. They're going to let you play your video unless it's a song and it's randomly, they're going to be blocked in some countries. Kayla just says, do you want to call my clients and explain the webcam thing? Kayla, call me. I will gladly help you and talk to anybody. I've explained this to many people. They don't get it. Webcams were not designed for action sports. GoPros, with like the one I have right here in front of me to my left that I use for my webcam, designed for action sports. My DSLR, designed to do this. I have a DJI Osmo Action over in the corner, designed to do that. Webcams were not designed for that. Webcams were designed to sit on top of your computer and capture image of you sitting in front of your computer. That's exactly what they were made for. That is the only thing they were made for. They weren't made for you to get up and dancing, you to get up and teach Zumba, you to get up and ride a bike. That's not what they were made for. To be honest, the camera on your iPhone is a better quality to do that than a webcam that you bought. Straight up. But back to the whole, you had Rachel, you have Gary, you had Rob Fowler, you have all these people doing it on Facebook. Okay? They find a way to pay. They pay through PayPal. They charge. They have a private group. Why do we need to go? Why do we need all these different things where obviously, judging by what I've seen, they keep having issues, and the issues are with the amount of people. We have a trusted thing, a trusted site that can prove it can handle thousands and thousands of people logging in, or 10 if that's all you have. You have a trusted way of doing this. Why do we need a whole other website or two that might or may not be covering you? That's my big thing. Vivian Young just says, well, I remember when choreographers were not happy the videos of the latest dances were uploaded on YouTube, allowing dancers to learn them dances without having to go to workshops. I still agree with that. This is coming from a video guy. I 100% agree with that part, because you'll have people like Scott Blevins who'll teach 3 weekends in a row, and he'll ask people not to put their workshop up because he's teaching it. Now, who's going to go to the workshop then? Who's going to attend the workshop? You know, I know people put up playlists of every dance taught at an event before it happens. Okay? What's the point of having the workshop then? And this is why I 100%, no offense, and people can take this the wrong way, I support going back to not releasing schedules. Give the schedule to the video crew and the instructors. That's it. That way they know. But that way, till you get to the event, you don't get the schedule. Plain and simple. And Vivian, you have events that are trying to make money off of selling workshop videos. Now, people did it for years. CJ was one of the greatest video guys I've ever known. Okay, Bob Bars have been doing it for years. You have people doing it for years. How are they going to make their money, which they're paying to promote the event, because they get part of the sales, if before Saturday night hits, every class is up? We went to an event one time on Thursday. I was in videotaping, and before demos started, all 12 dances that have been taught so far on Thursday were up on Facebook or YouTube. So who needs to go to classes then? Who needs to pay the $150 for a weekend pass and come to a hotel? I'm hoping Miss Jamie Marshall's still on here, because I know her event, Fort Wayne Dance for All, her and Barney have a no videoing policy. Plain and simple. And it's great. Megan just said, I like the idea of unreleased dance schedules. I'm 100%, and Elaine and Cook agreed. I 100% go back, because you know what? People still came to the event. Natasha just says, some people are experiencing big issues with Facebook. One of our local instructors streamed from Facebook and banned at the same time, and the Facebook always had some crazy hissing sound. It all depends on the microphone you have. A lot of it depends if the speaker, and I'll put my phone up here. When you record with a phone, and I'll hopefully put it in front of the camera, there's your microphones right down there on the bottom of your phone. So depending on if this has stuff in it clogged up, if you're recording with your phone, that's going to interfere with whether or not you're getting good sound quality. 99 times out of 10, I do plug in an external. If I'm using my phone, I plug in an external microphone. Okay, so that way the audio is not going in through that thing. It's going through the audio microphone I have in. Why do they let people film in lessons than simple? We've been asking that for years. I take issue with that reasoning, Miss Quirky. I don't know where you went with that, Pamela. I like to take dances from choreographers regardless of whether videos are on YouTube. I learned so much about the dance that way. Yes, there are some people that do. I still agree with that, but I know that. But banned on the same device has no interference. That might be a settings issue. So I went to YouTube because I have 6 dancers that don't have Facebook. Correct. I have a lot of people who would love to watch what I do. And that's why I streamed this show to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I would do every event where I stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, but due to the Facebook's music policy, we don't get blocked on YouTube, so I just stream to YouTube. Megan just said, I personally attend the events for who is teaching, DJing, and dancing. I personally don't care about what is being taught. I know a lot of people are like that. Maddie goes, this goes to the bigger discussion. Instead of dance after dance after dance, give the instructor more time to teach people to actually dance the dance, not just learn the steps. Allow them to teach how to play with it, how to explain a move that people are taught. That's a great, or caught on. Good question. That's a good thing. Laura just says, I like the schedule beforehand to really think about what workshops I want to take. Even if I had looked at a dance I still want to take from the instructor and more than willing to pay the workshop price. There are some people out there that are like that. But there are, again, many who turn around and just don't go. There's nothing like a live teach from the original choreographer. You learn other tips that you can't get from a step sheet. True, there are a lot of good ways, and that's not what we're saying. It's not what we're saying about that. There are plenty of great things. Rona says, all of us yearn from the social aspect of dancing together in person. That's why we'll continue to pay to attend events. I agree with you, Rona. That's not the thing. We're not telling pay to we're not talking about going to the event. But why do you need to have a schedule beforehand? You're still going to go to demos on Thursday night and watch every dance, and that will determine whether or not you want to go. And that's how it used to be done anyway. I just don't understand why you need and that's another thing, because I'll put it out there. There are certain individuals that will turn around and it'll be posted an entire spreadsheet with a link to every dance being taught over that weekend. Now, why is that needed? Why is that needed? So, I just don't understand that. That's the only thing. And yeah. Also, dances are intellectual property. Technically, only those creator allowed should be able to run the law book. Maddie, that's a whole different story and a whole different fight that we had with someone a couple years ago. That's a very gray area. Very gray area. So, no filming and stop people coming into the lesson after 5 minutes. It's so annoying when people come in at the end or the walkthrough and try to do it. My biggest pet peeve at events. Well, Natasha, she just said put out the list of instructors but no dances listed. I can see that. We do it anyway. You have a flyer a year before the event that knows every instructor that's coming to the event. You know beforehand. Like right now, you know every instructor that's going to be at the marathon if it happens. You know every instructor that's going to be at Fort Wayne if it happens, unless something happens last minute where an instructor can't come. You know every instructor that would be at Fort Wayne, at Boston. That already happens. So back to the topic of streaming, I think that we have so many options because there is no site that works close enough to simulate an in-person event. Megan, there's never going to be. There is never going to be a site that does that because there's no way to get the technology right now to where you can stream in unless you have millions and millions of dollars like the World Wrestling Federation with the Thunderdome. Unfortunately, line dancing is not a multi-billion-dollar business. That's just how it is. And off the technology you would need to bring in everybody, and that's just the internet. The internet you would need. Everyone would. The problem is, it would be possible. Everybody teaching on it would have to be come to one location, and that's where the studio would be. So, if we were able to bring all the instructors to one location, let's say a studio in Florida, we'd be holding more events, and the online aspect wouldn't be needed. So we'd be able to fly every instructor to Florida, put them in a studio, film it, broadcast it out to the world, but everything would be there. Kind of like what the WWE Thunderdome does. All the stars that are performing are in one location. They have TV screens around the whole room where those stars can see the people that choose to and win the lottery to come into that class. But then you have then you'd be bringing each instructor to one location. And if we can do that, we can pull off an event. And then this wouldn't be needed. I think that's why that's back to the streaming question. Oh, I know. Megan says, so people use whatever they can to try and focus what quality they want to supply. You know what it took for me to get even close to the sound and picture quality I wanted during Rachel's retro treaters. Oh, exactly. It takes a lot. So on that aspect, if we wanted that kind of, if everyone wanted that kind of atmosphere, if we're going to spend that much money and people can be there to record it in one location, we're going to go right back to being able to have events. I think, and this is just me personally, I think once we can have in-person events, a lot of the streaming is going to die down. I think a lot of the streaming, and it's not that people don't want it. I don't think people are going to have the time. Okay, right now you have instructors that are teaching 2-3 days a week. They're doing it in the same time slots as where their in-person classes would be. If they can go back to their in-person classes, do you see them setting up all of their streaming equipment and streaming at the same time as they're teaching and doing twice the work? That's the big question. If we can go back to people watching. Kayla just says, "God, I hope so." LOL. It's. I think it will. I think we're going to see once events start happening. I think there'll be streaming from events. I think even, and I talked to this about many people, I think once we get back to some events, you're going to even see events. I think events are going to be broadcasting instructors in. Like we have, I think with the technology ability we have and stuff like that, is it possible to have to instructors via digitally at events? Yes, we've proven that already. There have been events this year that already happened like that. There's been events in the past where we bring people in on screen live. That can be done, right? So I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have events that will have people there digitally, because there's just going to be some people that aren't going to want to travel as soon. So they're going to still want to be involved somehow. And like Megan just said, considering how safe I felt thanks to Jen Camera at FLDC, I think that in-person events can be done. I 100% agree with you. I'll give kudos once again out to Jen. That was what she did to make sure that happened was great, and it proved that we can have events. Vivian just says, I take ballet classes in the studio every week, and the class is streamed on Zoom to those who are not comfortable returning to the studio. Perfect example. So the instruction is done at the same time for those in the studio and those at home. Right. That's what that studio has chosen to do. You're 100% right, because they probably have enough. They already invested the money in setting up. They probably have a great setup for it, and they have everything streamed into Zoom. The question is, how many people are going to want to continue to do that setup on a larger scale? Because your space is more defined in your home or your studio. I know Jessica Devlin, her stuff is at the studio usually. So she is a little bit more, has bigger spaces. I know lots of people do it out of big spaces like that. They already have the equipment. Kelly and I was very fortunate. I already had everything I needed to do this show. I think I purchased a new microphone in the process. Excuse me. And that was for my personal, that I just wanted to upgrade at the beginning, just to change a little bit of the audio quality. But we already had the ability to stream. We had the cameras. We had the technology. I had the converters. I had everything. I pay to have the software that I use. I got that at the beginning to make it. I said when I wanted to do this, I was going to make sure everything looked good when streaming. So I invested a little bit of my own money. We did for the company, and to make sure streams can come out looking good and professional. I didn't want to just do the same old. So on that. Maddie B just says, I feel most people are streaming, whether it be for money or views, but it is all because they are trying to do whatever they can to survive or be involved. Agreed. I feel it is a necessity now, but will disintegrate once we get back to live events. And that's where I agree. I 100% agree that I don't think we're going to see as many online stuff once we get back to live events. So that was the big question about this with guys. We're going to go back to live events eventually, whether it be 1 year, whether it be 6 months. We already proved we had one. So I don't think they're further down the line than we think. I think some states and some countries will push back, but there are going to be some states and some countries that are going to allow it, plain and simple. It's just that's how it is. Some states are going to be easier to get stuff done than others. We talked about that on the last show. We already talked about how California, Michael and Michelle canceled the one in Palm Springs in January. Rachel's already moved the one from Florida back a year, and I think that was more because of the fact that she couldn't get the instructors here, and we weren't sure whether or not what's going on with the travel, and I think that's what it was, not because she couldn't hold the event. Megan just said California will be the last. Maddie said, except for the Honky Tonk Highway, I need you to keep this up. Okay, great. I said from the get-go, I don't plan on, once we go back to live events, this stopping. Will it probably be less per week? Yes, but I also want to be doing them on location. The whole point of this, when I originally had the idea, was to go on location, do it. And once we travel, that can happen again. So we travel some now, but once we go to more events, and that was the whole point of doing this, was to be able to show off what we have here in the United States and all over for line dancing. Not just the events, the honky tonks, the bars, the classes, stuff like that. And that was the whole point behind this. Maddie said, she doesn't know Washington's giving you a run for your money, California. Pamela, for example, Dangerous Event LA. Will he have an option for folks to pay to attend virtually? Do you know if he's thinking about that option? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if he is even thinking that option right now. I know he's mainly thinking about making sure the event happens. So, but I don't know. To be quite honest, guys, I don't know how many events are going to run a full virtual at their live event. And the reason being is how much it takes. You have to have a camera going at all time. You have to have multiple cameras going for multiple rooms. You have to have different sites set up. You have to have the audio, everything like that. It's not just I understand it can be done, but if you want it done the correct way, it's just not put up your camera and your phone and go. Kayla says, I stream for my own sanity. Ha, self-serving, bam. Honestly, I just love teaching. It's not about money or views. When I go live, be it for the venue I teach at or otherwise, I do it because I love it. I miss the in-person reaction, though. Agreed. Rich said, yes, Kelly, please keep up the Honky Tonk Highway. It would be great to have this once a week still when things are 100% open. That is definitely the goal. Megan says, internet costs alone. Agreed. And Pamela, that's where I come in. I agree with you. But there are still some events that don't have us. We don't go to. And it's like Megan said, there are sometimes the internet cost alone. The reason the events don't have us and don't have us do more, it takes a lot. The internet costs alone at some of these hotels are extreme. And like Kayla just said, how much it takes, but again, gives less incentive for someone to buy that $150 pass. Yes. And I think that's why you don't see more events do it. Okay, so some of the events that sell out, sure. But events that don't have a cap, like let's say Chicago, why would Mark want to stream every class that he has for a cheaper price when people can just pay? Yes, I understand now we have a little bit different story and it can be less, but he still is going to have to. The question is how much. The question on that one, and I'll be straight honest, is the question is how much are you going to be willing to pay? Because it's got to be worth it to where he's not going to lose money on it. And if he gets half his attendees to pay way less money because they don't feel safe coming, and he only gets half the attendees, he loses money. So Terry says, nothing like dancing your favorite dances with 150 other dancers. I totally agree with that. And then Natasha says the cost of the venue won't decrease. They're still paying the exact same money to have that venue, regardless of 100 people show up or 300 show up. That's the other thing. So Jen was this past weekend, regardless if Jen had the normal 350, 400 plus people at Florida Line Dance Classic, she still had to pay the same amount regardless if she had 100 people there over the weekend or if we had the 400. And like Megan said, we offer the walkthroughs already, guys. We offer the option for you to buy it. You just can't do it live. We offer the one-wall walkthroughs. Someone asked me the other day why we don't do 100% full teaches, and two reasons I'm going to give you right there. One, people complain about the lack of instructors being around already. Imagine if we had to do full teaches and we took every instructor 20 plus 25 minutes into a room per dance, over 100 dances taught, it's going to take me 3 days just to do the videos and then the size, and we'd have to up our prices. Plus, you have Rachel and Scott and people like that who sell their full teaches for you to buy. All right. When CJ did it years ago, it was more money than what we charge. It took months to get them out because it's a lot of content. Then we came up with what we felt a smarter, quicker option. We do one-wall walkthroughs, and we charge way less money. So you're still getting between 80 and 150 dances, a one-wall walkthrough where you can rewind, fast forward, go back for $50. And that's how we do. That's how we've been doing it for years, and it's worked. And people like them. And we get the occasional people complain that it's not to music, but you know what? If we put the music on there, there's more cost. I'd have to buy a music license for everything. And like Natasha says, and some people would take the easier route of not leaving home. You're absolutely right. As Kayla just says, as much as the event directors love it, dancers, please remember, it's a business at heart. Overhead is a real thing. Agreed. That I cannot stress enough. This is a business. Sharon just said, yeah, but it's time consuming for you and Kayla as well. And running from room to room at the event the size of Chicago. Oh, I agree. I 100% agree for you. We run and run. And you know what? We enjoy doing what we do, and we try to. I always have the Florida Line Dance class this past weekend, guys, which, like Kelly just said, is up on our website and on our Vimeo for digital download, so you can go and buy it. The issue is, what a lot of people don't see is we can get them done usually at a pretty substantial rate. The Florida Line Dance Classic was the first time in 5 years that I did not deliver on site. I have always made a promise, and I did this from day one, that I will deliver as fast and humanly possible I can. Besides the USLD competitions and the show, I don't deliver on site. I've always done the workshops. I've always delivered the workshops on site, even at events like Chicago and at Fort Wayne, where you have, I think Fort Wayne, we did 150 plus videos between couples and partner pattern and stuff like that. I've always delivered on site. Vegas, we delivered on site, and we had them done 2 days in, and we had them up on the TV. The Florida Classic was the first time I did not deliver on site, and it mainly came down to, one, we didn't know what we were getting into with the event, with the restrictions. Two, I competed. I had a 2-hour competition, and then I competed Saturday night, and I judged the Pro-Am competition. And Megan, in other words, too many new dances for you to. We had a lot of new dances debuted. Normally, there's not a lot. I have a good chunk of dances. I didn't have a single dance. I had to actually videotape every dance on the schedule. And then it just came down with show practice and stuff like that. I actually danced a lot that event. I actually I performed in the show. I performed in the finals with my buddy Chris. I competed. So I actually danced a lot. So I couldn't get to it and then picking up floor. It didn't get done. I did have them in the mail 3 days after the event, though, so that did happen. People should, if they haven't got them already, I know some people have already received theirs. They should have it all. And the show and the competition has already been mailed out as well. And like Betty German just said, like I say, this is a hard way to earn a living. You're absolutely right. It is, but some people love to do it. Betty says, so even you can't be in 2 places at once. I try. I try a lot. Yeah, Megan, I did. I was a little bit busy this past week, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I don't think I had people come up to me throughout the weekend, and even when I was picking up floor, ask me if I stood by my post. And on Wednesday night, about 10:30 at night, I made a post with me and 5 other people, or 4 other people, a picture of us putting down the floor and say, I never thought I'd hear the words, I would never be this happy to put down dance floor again. And I meant it. I was extremely happy to be able to be a part of Jen putting on that event this past weekend. And I was extremely grateful that it went on, because let me tell you, I missed it. It hasn't been easy. This has been a hard year. And I miss being at events. I don't think I've ever been home this much since I started dancing, whether it was competing or whatever. And I've been home. It was the first event since February. First event since Fort Wayne that we worked. And it was the first event since the middle of February we did dance floor at. So, and we went through December. Who would have thought? Like Kelly said, yes, it is hard. This is our full-time income, and we are still trying as hard as we can to provide a service to the dance community through videos, photos, graphics, social media management, and streaming. And we are. I try to push and I'm always trying to find a new way of doing stuff and push the boundaries, and we try to make it better and bigger every time out. Kayla said, you deserve to enjoy yourself every now and then. Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is usually my enjoyment. Megan just said, OMG, I knew that I needed FLDC, but I really had no clue just how badly I needed it. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people have said. You don't realize how bad you miss something until you haven't had it in close to 10 months. And it was great. So, but hope everyone enjoyed the talk. Guys, I say this all the time. If you have any questions, message me. I will help you with streaming as much as humanly possible. I will give you input. I know there was a while there I talked to Ira on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. I've talked to Megan many a times. I've talked to many people who have asked. I will gladly help out any way I can, if all possible. So, and that's how I've been from this. Kayla, I've never been to Myrtle Beach. I can't remember. Right, that's exactly. Now I'm over here looking for my flash drive from Windy City, Natasha says. I believe all of the ones from Windy City were green and had our logo on them, so you should be easily find it. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, call. If you have any things, call. I wish we had more people in the chat today that do some of the other websites. Hopefully they'll watch back and chime in their 2 cents. I'm curious to see what their feelings on this are. And that's why I want to do the show. Like I said, I will put up the schedule for the rest of the week. Probably tomorrow. Join me, like Rona just said, tomorrow morning on the radio show, 9 to 11 on the East Coast, 6 a.m. for Matty B, 2 o'clock for everybody over in the UK. And then Wednesday there will be no Honky Tonk Highway, but please join me on Streamline as I broadcast the schedule out for the boys. They'll be on live, Daniel, Jose, and JP. So, like I said, guys, also, quick thing real quick. Let me pop this up. We started the 12 days of Christmas. Kelly and I are being given a little bit back over the next 12 days. So today starts at 12 days of Christmas all the way through Christmas Day. Today, 50% off your photo purchase. Kelly will be making a post with the code later, I believe this afternoon. So this will run till tomorrow. So 50% off all your photos over on the website. Brought to you by us here at 7 Arrow Media, me and Kelly. So definitely check that out. We'll be posting one of these a day. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. It could be all sorts of different things, but we're going to be looking to do that through the next 12 days. So, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, I'm hoping people who use some of the other services will, chime in on the comments if they watch it back. If not, maybe we have a part 2 and we get some of them to come and join on air. I'll gladly do that too, and we can talk about it. But until next time, hope you enjoy the show. See ya.